Hi, I'm Dr. Paul with Chiropractic Personal Injury Marketing and Documentation. Let me share with you some of the common mistakes that I routinely see with personal injury with chiropractors, with documentation and marketing with personal injury. And let me go into that and why and how our system is so unique and different and why it's so successful. Again, I've opened 77 offices in 20 states, seeing over 600,000 patient visits a year. Speaker in 3 chiropractic colleges, Logan, Parker, and Texas Chiropractic College, past speaker. Won the largest county verdict in the largest civil verdict in my county with personal injury. It all started with taking a personal injury case from zero offer with 2 medical doctors saying she was totally normal, to me doing the documentation that we do, showing a jury all the problems that she's having and why she's having them that were totally missed by the medical doctors, to take it to a policy limit award of $110,000. And that was without a disc injury, nerve injury, mild concussion, fracture. That was simply a soft tissue spinal injury. That's the majority of what we see. So I've authored 10 books now. I've donated over $500,000 to the chiropractic profession. So that's a little bit about me and why this works. So I've never lost a case in court when testifying on behalf of my patients. Part of it is knowing some very specific categories of what to do, but also knowing when not to go to court when you don't have what you need. So it's a two-pronged approach. But what makes our documentation so much more successful than the average chiropractor, even chiropractors that have studied Croft. And I routinely have chiropractors come to me that, they've taken Croft and they think it's the Bible. And they typically say, I'll ask them, I'll say on a scale of 1 to 10, how much do you think you know about personal injury? And they'll say, 9 or 10. And within 3 weeks of studying our documentation, they look back and go, oh man, he didn't teach us anything about what you're teaching. See, what I teach is practical, real world, in your office material. I don't teach research stuff like Croft. I teach the stuff that happens in your office. And how do I know this? I've been to these seminars. I've been sitting in the impairment seminars where the doctors spends 90% of the time talking about problems that we never will even see in a chiropractic office. I've sat in those seminars before. That is not what happens with me. So it's very practical. We do what's called high sensitivity testing. In other words, very specific tests for very specific problems, not generic tests. High relevancy testing. So there's a high probability we're going to do the test, that we're going to find a positive finding. Because you can do all kinds of tests that are worthless. We do only medically accepted diagnostics, or it's very easy to get shot down in court and lose a lot of trust with attorneys. And then we use a 12-step formula. In other words, when you get all this information, you've got to put it in the proper order to tell the story. And I have a 12-step formula that does that. So if it's haphazard with what you have, or you don't have all those major categories, you're not going to have much of a case, meaning the attorney's not going to have much of a case. And I'll share with you the common factors that I see chiropractors get wrong every day. And I've been doing this for 30 years.